What's up guys, Howdish here, and today you've got some pretty interesting news. There have been a whole bunch of leaked audio files from the PC version of Destiny 2 that hint towards some potential future content. Some of it is very interesting and potentially pretty unexpected as well. Before I get into all of this stuff, obviously this is not confirmed content coming to the game. This has been leaked and kind of data mined from the PC version. And there is some bits and bobs in here that we've already kind of learned won't be happening. There are audio lines for the Prison of Elders, and there are also audio lines for Festival of the Lost inside of here, so not all of this content is necessarily going to be in the game immediately, potentially ever, so take it with a pinch of salt, but there is some very interesting stuff in here, and this stuff is in fact in the game files. So I'm not going to play the audio files themselves, but if you want to check them out, I will link the Reddit post down below. All of these were posted by a user called the Ecumen on Reddit, so credit goes to them for that, and I will leave the link to the audio files in the description. So initially there are a whole bunch of kind of audio lines referring to places from Destiny 1, but these audio lines are pretty in-depth and definitely suggest that we could visit some of those locations again. So some of the most interesting stuff would be for the Dreadnaught. So there is an audio line that says, "You and your ghost are brave for entering that ship," and that definitely suggests that we're actually going to go there at some point, or at least that was kind of part of the content plan. Could be something we see in the future. There's also an audio line that says, "Should Oryx return, his throne will be meager and stripped of resources." So obviously that's super interesting as well. There are a whole bunch of story and lore implications to all of this stuff. We'll have to see, you know, if it kind of is something that we actually get to do later down the road. There are also audio lines for other planets from Destiny 1, including for Mars. There's an audio line that says, "I'll pay for any Golden Age tech that you uncover beneath the sand." And another one that says, "Return from Mars, how goes the fight?" There's an audio line that refers to the Hellmouth on the moon, and it says, "The War Cult will always pay handsomely for threat removal on the moon." And these sound potentially kind of like patrol mission dialogues or something like that, but there are, you know, for all of these different locations, you know, sometimes 20 or 30 different audio lines specifically for that location that are in the Destiny 2 files. So these aren't just kind of random scraps, these are entire catalogs, archives of audio stuff. So it certainly seems like we could be seeing some of this in the future. There are others for the Cosmodrome, Venus, you've got literally all of the planets from Destiny 1. There's an audio line that says, "I wish I could go with you, Guardian. The call of the Reef is strong," and that's actually Araxhalal from Dead Orbit. There are a ton of kind of faction lines inside of these kind of dialogues as well. Many of the faction leaders talking about different locations and thanking you for helping them collect resources on various locations. So of course, if the Reef is going to return, potentially we'll be seeing kind of the Queen and certainly the Queen's Wrath faction. There are Prison of Elders lines that are kind of stored inside of the Reef collection as well. So like I said, there could be content that has kind of been cut. Bungie did confirm that Prison of Elders will not be inside of Destiny 2, and that stuff is kind of left over, but it looks potentially like it was in fact intended to be in Destiny 2 at some point. I don't know much about game design or anything like that, but I don't really know why these audio lines would have existed, especially in such high numbers, if they were never intended to be used in the game. But there are lines for Sparrow Racing League, and that's an event which is much more likely to return than Festival of the Lost, you know, considering the kind of launch period right now. There are numerous lines for something called Seasons of Renewal. So there's a line that says, "Surviving to see another season of Renewal is no small feat." So potentially Season of Renewal could be kind of a future season for the game. Could be kind of like the Dawning or Age of Triumph. It definitely has that kind of ring to it. It could be kind of something we see, you know, through the kind of annual cycle in Destiny 2. It very much seems like a possible live event or a particular period inside of the game. There are a series of audio lines for Ganymede, which is actually a moon of Jupiter, and there is a line from Araxhalal saying, "Your travels to the Jovians have been much discussed of late," as well as many others that refer to Ganymede directly. So that could be a future location that we're going to see in the game. And there is an audio line that says, "The Myriad could be our first step away from this system," and considering he says, you know, out of this solar system, potentially it's a vehicle, could be one of the giant ships that we saw in the cinematics at the end of Destiny 2. It could be any number of things. One thing is certainly for sure though, Bungie have definitely worked on a whole bunch of content in this game, and a lot of it is not available just now. There are numerous lines about Mercury, some of them are with new kind of male NPC voices, so it could be Osiris talking. There are various other new NPCs by the sounds of it inside of these audio files. There is a very interesting line from FWC that says, "Gaul is gone, but the hunt for Tenebra has just begun." So that's really interesting, because obviously that's an enemy enemy we haven't heard of yet, whether this will be inside of an expansion or inside of some kind of update to Destiny before the expansion perhaps, or it could be kind of story content, you know, that was cut out of the game and is no longer relevant. But Tenebra obviously is a new enemy or something that we're actually chasing down, or we're supposed to be chasing down at some point. Again, it could be future content, we just don't know at this point. So there we go guys, I just wanted to break down some of that stuff, obviously very spoiler heavy stuff potentially. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts in the comment section, and like I said, you can check out all of those files in the link in the description below, so perhaps leave some of your thoughts on that stuff. If you have enjoyed this video though, a like is very much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe if you want to see a lot more Destiny 2 content. But for now, you guys have an awesome day.